So as the President Trump right now weighs involvement in the Israel-Iran conflict, one question looms over all of this. Can Congress do anything? Does Congress have a say? What role do they have in this decision? We have just the person to talk us through this situation. That is Democratic Congressman Adam Smith. Congressman, thank you very much for being here. I really appreciate it. People at home are worried. They don't know what the consequence would be if we strike Iran. They also don't know what the consequence would be if we don't. How can people make their voices heard to their members of Congress, and what can Congress do to influence what the president does now?
Well, there is a lot to unpack in that question. First of all, what people can do is they can reach out, communicate with their members of Congress, communicate with the president and the White House, express their opinion one way or the other, and we really do listen to that. I think it really does matter if people speak up in terms of what they want. So that's what the public should do. I personally don't feel that we should go to war with Iran and that we should attack them. I think the consequences of that are unpredictable and dangerous. But your legal points are correct. As a practical matter, every president, I guess going back to Thomas Jefferson and the Barbary Coast pirates, has used the military the way he wanted to. Congress has complained about it and passed laws from time to time, but presidents find one way around it or another. That's what's happened. I don't think that's what should happen. I think Congress should have a say in this. If the president's going to attack Iran, I don't think he has the legal authority to do that under the Constitution right now, and it should require congressional approval.
Congressman, I want a quick follow-up before we go back to the legal question. This 2-week time period that President Trump has given himself to make a decision, what's possible within those 2 weeks? I mean, there could be a diplomatic solution, but then there's other people worried that Iran could gather its allies, talk to Russia, talk to Pakistan. What's your feeling about the state of safety for the world in this moment of waiting?
It's a very dangerous time right now. I mean, the war is going on. Iran and Israel are attacking each other every day. And like you said, you never know when that's going to spread. Iran doesn't really have allies that are that close to them right now. Russia's preoccupied in Ukraine. So I think the risk of some ally of Iran coming in on their side of the war is relatively low, but you don't know for sure. What's going to happen in the next 2 weeks, President Trump is attempting to negotiate a settlement. That's going to be the main focus. The risk is where Iran is at with their nuclear weapons program. They are, much further along than anyone would like them to be in terms of the amount of enriched uranium they have. There is a threat there, but I think the threat of the U.S. getting into a war with Iran is far greater.
I want to go back to the legal question quickly, because it does kind of seem like there isn't really a lot of consequences other than what the American people do feel based on what we have seen presidents do in the past. I mean, are you concerned that the president could potentially try and sidestep congressional approval in going to war with the Middle East?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, I would fully expect him to do so. That's been the pattern with all presidents. And, not to pick on a Democratic president, but when Barack Obama was president, we went to war with Libya. You did a great job of explaining the War Powers Resolution, by the way. So hostilities against Libya were initiated. They notified Congress. And then, as you point out, they have 60 days before they would have to either get congressional approval or cease hostilities. Well, we hit the 60-day mark, and the Obama administration said we have ceased hostilities, even while we continued to launch missiles into Libya. So they just said, hostilities are over. So there's a lot of room to hide in the definition of hostilities, the definition of war. And as a practical matter, as I said, the commander-in-chief basically has decided to use the military how they see fit. But the main check on that power is, believe it or not, public opinion. Because, at least for the moment, we have democratic elections in this country, and presidents do respond to that. So if the public expresses its opinion loudly, either to Congress or more broadly, presidents will take that into account.
All right, Congressman Adam Smith, really appreciate your time today.